chain and other elements, right? And you also look at this from the model angle, and we looked at frontier models, open models, and then, how you fine-tune those. And then you look at that from the software and the tooling angles. And through all of these sovereign models, I want us to keep one very important thing in mind. None of this means start from a blank sheet of paper. None of this means start from zero. This always means in every case that someone has a blueprint, an open model, somewhere to start from, right? NVIDIA has like hundreds of blueprints, like 400 plus libraries. We're here to help you get started, right? We have been, alongside many startups in the ecosystem, many universities and researchers. Let's use the best practices from around the world and bring those together and get that running start. Because sovereign does not mean isolation, right? Sovereign, the best solutions come via collaboration. Collaboration means that you are gluing your solutions in with a local base where you're investing locally, but you're engaging globally. That global engagement opens doors to developer networks, global developer communities, global supply chains, and global markets, right? Those global markets where you find and grow your businesses. So that's super important. Local investments, global engagements. So these public sector use cases that we're talking about absolutely need that fine-tuning with the data that's available locally, right? That allows you to bring more fidelity to the outputs that you're seeking, to the up-to-the-minute information. I mean, think about the information that you're relying on through your public sector use cases, through citizen services, whether it's looking at payments, whether it's looking at health data. You need absolute accurate information. And this domain-specific knowledge is coming through many of these data sets. And so that's absolutely critical and required for many of the applications that we see happening today. So what are some of the results here? And I'm proud to say this is one of those slides I have to keep updating because there's just so much going on here, right? And it's, yesterday I had the privilege of joining a couple of different panels and a couple of different panels the day before that. And so I've even updated it across the last couple of days, right? So I look at the work that Sarbam is doing. World-leading biometric identity. Millions of people are leaning on this daily, right? More than 1 billion citizens. What are we at? 1.4 billion citizens in India today, right? Biometric identity that is helping us to drive the financial payments, right? Helping us to drive an entire suite of things that we can then build off of. Bhashini. Never mind 22 languages, now we're up to 36. I mean, geez, at this point, we might even get to 200, right? There is nowhere else in the world that is on a clip this tremendous, right? In one of our panels yesterday, we saw that live translation in motion as we were speaking. It was really profound and it really meant a lot, I think, to all of us, right? And so that is where we start to bring everyone into the boat together, right? That is where we see potential for all 1.4 billion people to come with us on this AI journey, right? This is not something that is going to further increase a digital divide. This is something that can stitch that back together. And so when we look at ASR or something that can be a speech-first application, these are some areas where we have so much more potential now with AI than we have in the past. We look at Zoho. Zoho is a global enterprise software, right? This is something built in India that is now seen globally, and we're continuing to see growth there. And Bharatjan as well. So many areas where we see a ton of pride. VRATGen is up to 22 trillion tokens. This is incredible. That's another one of the statistics that I got to update yesterday. So where is this going? What is the impact? India AI Impact Summit, right? The important thing that PM Modi said that we are going to focus on with this summit is what is the impact? What is the real life difference that we're going to be making with AI, right? So this is some of the things that we're seeing in public sector. Around education, adaptive learning, tutoring, ability to reach populations and students with learning that's going to really help move them forward. AI that can make teachers better teachers. That's AI literacy, right? Those teachers don't need to become AI developers, but we need AI developers to help build those applications. Urban planning and smart cities. Again, traffic, traffic would be amazing. And by the way, traffic could be amazing in every city I've been in. But smart cities, right? How can we design and make cities the best places to live? Looking at personalized civil and citizen services. Citizen GPT, right? How can you walk into any public institution and know that your information is ready to go, right? You're looking for a license, you're looking for your information specific to your public health needs, all of that. How do you make sure that's ready to go? It looks like my time is ticking away. Geez, I feel like I just got up here. Climate, how can you foresee and simulate future weather that could determine how you route water, if it's going to be a flood area, wind, if it's going to be a wind area. How do you anticipate that and build for it? Compliance and enforcement, again, how do you kind of automate some of these processes? So a lot of impact that we can have on citizen lives. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up a little bit here. Overall, we work together. We build models. We take the best practices from around the world. We team with you because our goal is to help India become a stronger India, right? And because, we are together on this. And that comes from building infrastructure, cultivating the best in India for India. We work together with Yotta for many years now. And we're very proud of the work we're doing with Yotta as well as several of the other providers. We work together on expertise through DLI and other training and learning, working with universities with training kits, on cultivating that ecosystem and that community that continues to feed and foster the startup ecosystem as well as plumb into existing industries. And then finally, programs. Programs built to kind of connect all of these moving parts. Connect these moving parts so that we can benefit from one another, so that we can learn together and grow together rather than work so independently. So I'll leave you with a few final thoughts. India has the innovation, the drive, the potential, the track record, and has already laid the foundation for so much success that it is my favorite example that I carry with me around the world. NVIDIA has so many capabilities that we can help bring to this great partnership. We have resources to bring to developers to help accelerate this journey, and we're so excited to do that. And, every country we speak with is excited to embark on this AI-driven era. India is laying the groundwork for that. And every startup that is born in India is not there saying, I only want to live in India. Every company is saying, I'm a global company, right? Every company is saying, I want to be Zoho, I want to be Tata, I want to be a global company. And that's something that I'm excited to say, AI has the potential to help grow those companies from India. So again, I'll leave you with that last idea. Keep investing locally, but always engage globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalista, for that amazing example of how sovereign AI, can be built in a country and what a country can transform its citizens to adopt option to transform. Over to you, Shankar.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jigar. And Pradeep talked about, and apply it into industry. Apply it in industry not just for India, but also for the world. In other words, there's an India for India story here and an India for world story as well. So let me start by kind of talking about the three pillars of AI. First of all, there's the digital or the agentic AI, which John covered quite comprehensively. It's about billions of people and processes working in a digital world using perception, reasoning, generation, creating intelligence from the data that we have in our digital economy, whether it's retailing, financial services, and all of the other digital industries and services that we have. Second is the physical AI. And the physical AI consists of the trillions rather than billions of machines and sensors and cameras and robots that are going to be working in the physical world, obeying the laws of physics and chemistry and biology. And it becomes, instead of a two-computer problem in the digital world, a three-computer problem, because the brain of the robot needs to be simulated in another AI factory. So the brain has to be generated in one AI factory and then simulated, tested, and certified in another AI factory before you set it out into the physical world. So that's the physical AI. And then, of course, the combination of this digital and physical world is in what Kalista talked about, which is sovereign AI. And sovereign very much matters because if data is the raw material or the fuel for AI, you don't want to be exporting your data and importing your finished goods, in other words, your intelligence. So sovereign AI is super important. And these three pillars of AI are in the economy and the industry. So let's first talk about AI agents in every industry. So we at NVIDIA are working with all of the major corporations in a handful of situations in all of the leading industries. We have roughly around 17 fully fledged industry teams now in all of the industry verticals, and it'll shortly be growing to 21 or 22 teams globally, everything from sort of, agriculture all the way to zoology, if I may say, the A to Z of industry verticals. And in every one of these, the architecture that John described is now being verticalized for the specific business problem that that industry is addressing. So, for example, our retail team just put out a shopping assistant blueprint, which could be used by a large corporation globally, or an e-commerce company like Flipkart here locally. And these blueprints are all open source. They're all publicly available. They will run on any AI factory internally in your company, a private AI factory, or the public cloud AI factory on the same reference architecture. So the financial services team, our payments industry vertical, just put out a fraud detection and fraud prevention AI, agentic AI blueprint, which is being used again by many of the payment processors, both here in India as well as globally. And notice that payment processing blueprint, which is used in the financial services industry, can also be used in the medical and health insurance industries, for our Medicare in America, or for, Ayushman Bharat payments here in India. So that's another example. And I could give you many other examples across all of these industries. For example, for smart cities and warehouses and factories and spaces and stadiums and temples, we have the world's best video search and summarization blueprint. It is one of our most downloaded blueprints. We have hundreds of thousands of corporations using it. We have 140 ISVs which have adopted it, and so on. And again, in this agentic AI space, all of the leading ISVs are starting to put out these agentic AI software applications and blueprints. So we're working with Amdocs in the telecom industry, with SLB in the energy industry, with Schneider in the energy industry, and so on. So there's industry vertical instantiations of these agentic AI applications. The second area, which is the area that Callista talked about, is the sovereign AI. And here, especially in India, population scale matters. So we're not talking about a small number of identity transactions going on. We're talking about billions of transactions happening every week on the Aadhaar system. And I'm really proud that Jigar's SA team, working with our National Informatics Center developers and integrators, have now, I think we are accelerating around 50 million identities every single day using the AI factory architecture that we have proposed here in India. Another very interesting one is the NCPI processing 700 million payments on accelerated computing now. Using this same AI factory architecture. And then I think one which might be near and dear to some of us who are working through the backlog of the courts. Once again, the AI, the National Informatics Center, has now rolled out their judicial processing system to 625 courts and 20,000 judges. So hopefully we can start to clear out the backlog in the judicial system right now. And it's work that the country should be proud of. You're using an industry standard architecture. The developers and the architects and integrators from the National Informatics Center and from our global systems integrators who work here in India are able to do this seminal type of work. The other thing which is happening here is, I think Callista already talked about the Bhashini, so it's really cool. I mean, I was at the Rajasthan DigiFest in January, and the talks were being simultaneously translated and transcribed in multiple languages across the screen in real time. And this work is again being done by our technical people working with the Bhashini people to make this happen. And I hope that as a result of the investments in infrastructure that are being made here by the data center companies and by the Indian AI mission, we will have much stronger foundational models in India from the likes of Sarvam and all the other, Gyan and so on, the other companies. BharatGen is another very good one, all building up foundational sovereign capability in terms of LLM, including, by the way, physics-based real-life LLMs as well. So, the third area, which is building physical AI. And here we are working with all of the global industrial ISV companies, the likes of Cadence and Synopsys, which acquired Ansys, and Siemens, which has Siemens Digital, and Schneider, and a whole bunch of, Jensen was at the Dassault conference, offerings. So we can build better factories, we can design better product, 4D simulation of the Tata Electronics fab, which is being built right now in Dholera and in Assam. So that's using our software architecture. I'm also very happy to say that companies like Infosys and Wipro are also embracing this physical AI and automating retailing and gas stations and warehouses and factories so that they can be better automated with or without robots in the architecture. So those are the three basic pillars: the physical AI, the sovereign AI, and the digital AI. applied across all of the industries. And you can go to build.nvidia.com right now and look in there. You can scroll down to it starts with, our basic capabilities. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will see a button which will take you to all of our industry-specific blueprints that we are providing to the entire community so that you can start to immediately build and deploy these types of agents at population scale in India or elsewhere. And the bottom line is every enterprise, every government department, every public sector entity, every school, every university, all of you need an AI factory built with the architecture that John and Pradeep talked about. I am particularly passionate about, especially now with the new tax holiday for data centers. We have 1,800 global capability centers in India, from all the global 2,000 corporations. 1,800 of them have a major global capability center in India, currently employing over 2 million people, shortly to grow to 3 million people employed in these centers. And every one of these global capability centers needs their own local AI factory from which they will take their data, their business processes, their IP, and convert it into intelligence. And so this is a very big opportunity here in India. And as we described, this is foundational infrastructure. So the good news is, we have roughly about $1 billion, $1.2 billion, depending on the exchange rate you use, of investment going in from the government into AI infrastructure in India. And it's commendable, it's deployed. Around about 38,000 of our high-end GPUs are deployed in this AI mission infrastructure. And we're very happy about it. It's being highly utilized. But to put it into context, the overall investment per year in core infrastructure in India is now of the order of $150 billion a year. And we need that infrastructure. We need the roads, we need the bridges, we need the railway, we need the high-speed train, we need the airports, the seaports, the electricity grid. And of course, that goes into the 150 billion a year. But the amount being invested at 1.2 billion for the AI mission is still insufficient to actually create that population scale AI and put India on the manufacturing map, on the services map, not just for India in India, but for India into the world and providing that. So I hope that we will be able to, as the economy grows, put more investment into this AI infrastructure. So having said that, let me bring up all of my colleagues back here on stage, and we will be delighted to take a few questions. I think we still have a little bit of time, and we would love to take your questions and address any concerns and whatever you may want to bring up here today. Okay, let's get back up. Who's going to ask the first question? And what's the system? Oh yeah, there's a microphone here. I think we've got some hand mics. Jigar, you need a mic? Are you sure? Yes. Okay. I'll borrow it.
Thank you so much. My name
introduce yourself at least. Short in 15 seconds. Okay.
No problem. My name is Gaurav Jain. I'm the director and head for artificial intelligence for Pfizer in APAC India. And my questions relies on great capabilities that NVIDIA is building. How about we are talking about some of the decentralized data and how can we integrate that into our day-to-day enterprise level systems?
What's the question
again? We
again?
run a lot of clinical trials. The decentralization of the data becomes very critical for us.
Okay, Pradeep.
Okay, so, your data can be at many, many different places, right? And that's exactly, the kind of the problems we always deal with. I think the data can be structured and it can also be unstructured data. A very simple way, right now we are working with a lot of our storage providers, right? Think of we are creating what we call as an AI data layer. So where you can go and talk to your data, right? Think of it's a capability which is built in collaboration with a lot of storage providers, right? I think John talked about a couple of them earlier in his talk, right? So that's a way, like if you're talking about more of a graphics data and other kinds of the data. Like we also have like, Omniverse as our another platform where you can bring in all the data and we convert that into the USD and bring it in something called Nucleus, which is kind of one way of putting all this data inside it. And then you can, from that, go and visualize all that data within the Omniverse. But in the reference of like AI and then structured, unstructured, we're working with the ecosystem of all the storage providers. John, do you want to add anything?
I was going to say, once you have your data, if your data is distributed, as long as you provide the right set of APIs, the agent will know where to go get that data, and the agent can get that data. So you're basically federating your data at that point versus having to try and move it and bring it all into a single data lake.
No, and thank you so much for the skills that the agents are bringing. That was a wonderful point. I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Okay, let's take some more questions.
So very good morning. My name is Siddhant. I'm a startup of Climate Tech. So my questions to NVIDIA, like how leveraging AI to contribute towards poverty reductions, and are the specific programs, technologies, or partnership focused on improving livelihoods in how low-income communities? So my questions to all of you.
Yeah, I'll add some of the data points, right? Let's take a very simple example. I think Kalista just covered that pretty well when she was giving the examples. Bhashini, right? Today, my mom does transactions in SBI using her local language. That was a barrier. At NPCI, the amount of fraud that takes place for the country in UPI transactions that we do has started to reduce significantly. And that amount, something I can't disclose it because that's not disclosable data, but that data is significantly large. It's in millions, hundreds of millions of dollars per year, right? A small shop guy who's doing a transaction, losing his money on a fraud is bringing them back towards the poverty, right? These are the gaps that we are trying to bridge in. I think there's a nice announcement that government has done during the budget, which was for the farmers, call it as Vistar. The first deployment is taking place in Maharashtra, call it as Mahavistar. That's for anybody and everybody to call up on a phone, talk to an agent, which is basically an AI in a local language, asking and telling, how do I start my farming and what are the schemes that are available? And can you auto-apply it? And can I get the benefit, direct benefit transfer to my account? Or tell me the nearest place where I can buy and sell the things that are needed for my farming. Every information will be available on just one phone call away, right?
Let's do one question from there.
Hi, my name is Indranil Dabhade. I'm the founder of O Automation. My question is regarding to big tech. Now, since the supply chain from NVIDIA is basically involves the big tech, and India itself has got their own big tech in Infosys and all, a lot of startups coming up with AI, if they wish to join the supply chain for NVIDIA, the feasibility of these startups joining and the process of NVIDIA evaluating the solutions that these startups are offering towards NVIDIA.
Okay, why don't you give the microphone back and we'll answer the question.
Yeah, I can take it up.
Okay.
So we have an Inception program. I think I have seen India team doing pretty efficient job in 48 hours to 7 days maximum. You get a response with details. Once you get selected, which I think is quite liberal, what I've seen it, because we have over 4,000 startups as we speak in the country today in our Inception program. You get your GPU allocation done. That's free for a certain duration of time with certain credits. That's one way to look. The other way to look at it is, I again go back to what I think Kalista and Shankar announced it. I think India AI Mission has some amazing work done on bringing down the cost of GPUs from the country for the country, right? Startups can now avail that similar prices that cloud providers are able to offer it from the country, actually.
I'd like to add just one additional thought there, and that is that for those who've been working with NVIDIA, we do everything through our partners. So I think, if you're looking for an engagement directly with NVIDIA, that is not the only path. Becoming a partner to NVIDIA, if you're, an established, hardware, software provider, or becoming a partner to one of the local providers, that's how you start to create that local community, right? So, consider how do you ingrain yourself in the local tech ecosystem that is about that AI solution that you're proposing.
Okay, so we'll take one question there and then hand the mic over and we'll bring it over here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Srirang. I'm a student at Ashoka University. My question to you essentially is that if India sort of does invest in or building all these infrastructure and building sovereign AI, how can it ensure that we avoid any bad incidents and to make sure that we ensure AI safety?
Sure. Why don't you take the mic and then let's bring it across. Who wants to do that? Public safety. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So you basically touched on the 2 points, right? One is building the infrastructure, right, as you are building. Yes, think of it's a foundation piece. What do you need to drive the next industrial revolution in the country, right? That's a very simple way of thinking about. And then your question was more about the safety, right? And then ensuring that, the AI which you're creating do not have the biases. I think that's a very active area, right? Because anything which you create, it's not only just starts from the AI as an algorithm point of view, everything starts from the data. That's why, like, if you look at NVIDIA, in our open model strategy, what we have done, we have not only open sourced the models, but we have also open sourced the data, right? We also have tools like guardrails, by which you can go and ensure, hey, what's being communicated through that AI. And then you can also put on the top of the additional safety and the security, right? Because any enterprise where you are going to deploy these systems, you need to ensure the right guardrails and the right security is being put in place so that you can see the right uses of this technology, right? So think of it's a combined responsibility of the developers of this technology, the users of this technology, and then ensuring even the government has the right policies so that we all can work together to nurture this ecosystem.
I just want to add one real quick for the students. So if you're a student, right, all of our technology is open source. So our whole NEMO framework, there's everything from data curation to synthetic data generation, where you can take small amounts of data and generate synthetic data that is secure and safe, but uses the same attributes of the data that you started with. So it hides PII and all of that stuff. Right? And then we also have an ecosystem of partners that we work with that can secure data at different levels. And so if you haven't, Shankar called out earlier, build.nvidia.com, you can find blueprints there that actually show you the Jupyter notebooks on how to deploy some of these technologies.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Nikhil Mathur. I am from National Internet Exchange. Sir, I wanted to talk something about the application of AI in critical infrastructure like in industries. Sir, I understand that in industries the processes are very critical. I myself have handled the calibrations, everything. I wanted to add something. Can human interface be built to check the decision level of the AI systems? Or how can I research in that topic? I wanted to ask.
Yeah. So, you ask actually, again, the multiple questions, but just to answer your first question, can industries leverage AI in the critical infrastructure? The answer is yes. Think of like a very simple example like oil rigs, where you even today go to the humans and it's a very dangerous conditions there. Can you go and deploy the robots there? Yes. Putting the humans in the loop? Yes, of course, yes. A lot of systems, like think of healthcare is a great example, right? Where you can go, like think of simple scan, radiology scan, where you can go and AI can give you some initial output, but you still would like to have human in the loop to have a second opinion on that. So to answer that question, yes. Most of the systems today are being built. They are like, even the agentic systems, the companies and the enterprises are thinking to put the humans in the loop at certain point to do the right validation or to ensure that, hey, as a part of this entire flow, we have somewhere like where humans are being involved, right? So both the things, the answer is yes, and that's how it's being done.
Okay, let's take a question from there.
I'm Avisha Chaudhary. I'm from Ashoka University, and I'm researching in enterprise compliance. And thank you for the enriching session. And you also talked about, Pradeep sir, that you have guardrails when you deploy certain sovereign AI capacities via NVIDIA. But the thing is that today we see employees bypassing enterprise blocks through the public LLM models, which are deployed online. So there is no certain way to secure your data leaks through the online model. So is NVIDIA looking at that aspect as well and trying to deploy security?
Yeah. Okay. So I think one interesting part is that this field is evolving so fast, right? If you see the amount of the tools and these things are coming, which are open source. People can download, use it as a PC, right, on your normal laptop, and can go and create your own chatbots. When you do that, you kind of put your data at the risk. If you give an exposure of your data without putting the right set of the security and the guardrails in place, right? So generally, the way, I can give you an example, the way enterprises are doing, for example, any of these open source models, right, or open source tools which are available, they generally have a local sandbox, right? Think of that way, which is like being secured through their own enterprise authentication. Like you might have heard of like single sign-on kind of a thing, right? You as an individual, if you go and download something and you expose your email to that, I think that's your responsibility. Again, think of exposing your data for your personal usage is your responsibility. But at an enterprise level, every enterprise actually goes through these sandboxing, these checkpoints, single sign-ons, so that only think of the agentic systems. I think John talked about, not every agent will have access to every data. There is a access control which is being provided to each and every data.
Okay. I think you want to probably add something here.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let's take a question there. I mean, the key point is that open source. That's why John emphasized open source. Okay, that's really good. Okay.
Thank you for a very good session. So my name is Vinay Jirgade. I represent Trimiti Innovation. So we work in the digital twinning space. So my question is, and we are working with the MSME industries, and we want to take the benefits of Industry 4.0 digital twin, whatever possible, to that level. Because if the MSME grows up, then the overall Indian ecosystem will grow. I'm also working on the tier 2 and tier 3 and want to take this Omniverse. So current challenge is Omniverse needs heavy GPUs, and they can't afford buying such costly GPUs. So through cloud or some other means, can we reach to them, and can
yes.
they
So I think we have our cloud providers from the country who are giving this solution and Omniverse on cloud at a much, much cheaper price than the global price that I have seen it. I think Yotta is a good option. E2 is another good option. Tata Communications is another good option. You could go to them and ask for Omniverse license with a GPU, and you will find the price which is going to be very, very effective.
Okay. Next question over there.
So hi. Very good morning. My name is Ahid. I'm a counsel for AI, data, and open source. So I assume that through your engagement with regulators and policymakers, you are seeing an early signals of how legal standards are evolving. So do you expect some sort of convergence or some sort of fragmentation in AI regulations happening like in the world, in the US and in India? So is it convergence or the different side?
Who wants to take that?
Sorry.
So predicting the regulatory environment is it's hard. It's really hard to predict. It's absolutely difficult to predict. I think that different jurisdictions are taking various approaches to it. We're very excited about the approach that India has taken. It has fostered a very innovation-friendly environment for the developer community. In fact, one of the tenets that I've seen in India in particular is it's been very inviting for startups to stay and grow here. And that is something that is testament to the resources available, the government investment available here, and the general supportive environment. And that's something that regulation has an impact on.
Okay, we'll do two more questions. Gentlemen here in the front. I would actually like to do
There we go.
Okay, so last question, we'll take a question.
And a small investor in Fiddler AI under the guardrails column. And my question is a very broad one. When a lot of people talk about human in the loop, increasingly in terms of coding or any of the expertise, AI systems will soon have more expertise than humans. So who are these humans? What expertise will they have very, very soon? As you could see, very less people are going to learn how to code. So how can you trust that these AI systems are going to do right for humanity? And NVIDIA has answers for everything. I would love to hear what you guys have.
In particular around coding, you want human in the loop to ensure that the activity that's going to be taken is something that should be taken. So we have human in the loop. Even at NVIDIA, all of our engineers have access to, Cursor, Claude Code, all those tools. But every time you use it, it will ask you, and it's based on the settings that we set and the sandboxes that our IT has set up. So like I use Claude Code, even though I'm not coding. I use it as a general purpose AI. And every time it tries to execute a command in a bash shell or something like that, it requires me to approve it. So I'm in the loop that way so that it can't do something destructive to my local system or local data. And ideally, I would have it execute this code it's written in a sandbox before I allow it to commit a PR.
Okay, we'll take two last questions because the next session is going to start. The lady here and then followed by the gentleman over here. Okay?
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Meghna Kore from Maharashtra. I am an educationist. I would like to partner with NVIDIA to build a complete ecosystem in education sector. So how I can initiate with you all. Thank you so much.
We can connect offline.
Thanks.
Okay, Dr. Jigar, last question.
Yep.
Hello. First of all, thank you so much, dignitaries, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Adil Sheikh, and I am proud alumni of Prerna ELP initiated by Ministry of Education. And I am an undergraduate student and global delegate. So, sir, I question for you, what a role can young innovators and students play in shaping sovereign AI system, and how can government make infrastructure more accessible to grassroots talent?
Did anyone get the question?
So there is a noise. How can government make more?
Make more accessible to grassroots talent.
Grassroots talent.
Grassroots talent.
I think India Mission is a classy example of how it's getting made available to the grassroots people.
Okay.
In my view, in the at least history of what I have known from the last 21 years I've been working in India,
yeah,
I have not seen government giving so much of infrastructure availability on digital side to the startups and researchers in one go in a year's time frame, right? And I'm sure from here, it's just the beginning. Yeah. It's going to explode from here, as how the announcements I hear yesterday as well, what Minister has made it. My view is, it's just the beginning and more is coming our way.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
And that's the reason to think of it as infrastructure, just like, electricity, water, roads, etc. Over time, they become more available to the entire, community within a country.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So thank you all very much for joining our session today.
So much.
Thanks to our panelists, and have a really good conference.
While they set it up, I would still like to encourage all of you to visit NVIDIA booths.
Oh, yes.
We are celebrating our success of our partners who have worked with us for the last 5 years in building this journey of AI infrastructure and AI application at scale. We also have all the foundation model players of the country announcing their new models in other halls starting 12:30. Please do also join them. Thank you.
The next session will begin in about 10 minutes, so please take your seat if you want to also participate.